Learn from stars and heroes of the Dubai business world. Welcome to the Dubai Business Podcast, produced by Jayid. Now, here's your host, Lucas Krejcia.
For many restaurants, the business flipped upside down in days. They had to close their dining and rely only on deliveries. As my today's guest suggests, it is actually an opportunity for each restaurant to build their own customer base, which they'd never be able to do in a normal scenario. In this conversation with Aditya Muimdar, a digital marketing specialist at Domino's, we discuss how restaurants can activate their online presence, how to use Facebook and Google Ads or SMS marketing, but also how not to lose money with many scammers going around. Adi, thanks for joining us on Dubai Business Podcast. You work as a digital marketing specialist in Domino's. So let's start with how is Domino's business going nowadays?
It's pretty good. I mean, given the market scenario, I think everyone in the food and beverage industry has seen an impact. I think it's one of the most critical businesses to have the massive impact of the whole COVID situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You guys were selling online a lot before, so I guess for maybe your brand it was not such a big change. Is that right?
True, but again, there is a certain section of the business which comes through dine-in as well. So, that impact is always seen on the business because it's not an 100% business now, unlike few dark kitchens where their whole model was delivery and they would not see any impact. But unlike any QSR, be it McDonald's, be it Domino's, be it KFC, you always see a certain chunk of the business losing because there is no walk-in customers or dine-in customers anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How did your work specifically change with all this situation, the work of digital marketing specialist?
So, when the news came in that, dine-in's been asked to shut, I think that was the time when we started really ramping up the entire digital space. We have worked earlier together as well, and we do a lot of activity on digital per se. So we had to ramp up that. We had to look for new avenues to drive traffic because Google and Facebook would obviously reach a certain level, and then you need more audience where they are engaging in different apps or different gaming platforms or those. So you need to engage with them because most of the people are at home. So we were wrapping up all these channels so that the impact of dine-in shutting down could be cushioned up by a significant increase in online deliveries.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. I'd like to today, during this episode, kind of give a few hints to other restaurants or people in the industry how they can utilize the digital marketing. Let's maybe start with step probably 0. What do restaurants need to start selling online?
I think value is very, very important at this time. No matter what kind of restaurant you are, I think people are looking for very high value. If you've never been on or never really focused on online delivery, I think it's the right time to get in and give some discounts, new user acquisitions, because me being a marketeer and staying alone in Dubai, I'm still looking for deals and offers, particularly now than ever before, because a lot of people are taking salary cuts. There's a delay in salary, so you need to manage your expenses, and giving value to the consumers, I think, is a great start to try to drive their delivery business, because there's a lot of clutter at this point. Mm-hmm. With every single player focusing on delivery, so that helps in terms of capturing the audience.
Okay. You mentioned a lot of clutter. I believe what every restaurant in Dubai have experience with is are the delivery platforms like Zomato, Uber Eats, Careem now, Deliveroo, and there's way more of them actually now around. Should I, as a restaurant, at the same time build my own platform? Like Domino's is selling through app and your own website. Should I aim to have my own online platform, or I should rely on those third parties?
I think to start with, I think third parties would be a quick win because you're running out of time. Basically, every day you lose, you're losing big chunk of your business. To quick kickstart, I think aggregator platforms help to drive business, because that is where all the audiences are right now in terms of whether you want to order lunch or dinner. People are going on Careem, Uber Eats, Deliveroo, Zomato to see what restaurants are there, which are ordering, whether they are hygienically safe, do they follow the WHO standards of sanitization and cleanliness, all those things. And these platforms are doing a good job in terms of notifying users also that certain badges on their listing saying they follow certain measures to keep the sanity and safety of the people. That adds a comfort for a user like me. So it's a good start from there. And then obviously you have Facebook Messenger ordering, Instagram ordering, which you could enable pretty quickly to have your own ordering platform.
Absolutely. Okay. Do you see some moment at which I should decide, okay, I will build on top of those aggregators also my own platform, or is it case by case?
I think I would look at case by case. For a restaurant like Paul, I'm just giving an example where they are heavy dine-in players, unlike delivery. I know that I've ordered a few times from them. That is why I know this. They are very limited in terms of delivery, but their majority business is dine-in. So I think for now, I would not really look at having an app for a restaurant like that. But unlike Operation Falafel or any other medium-size chains, I think I would definitely look at building my own platform from now on.
Okay. Tricky questions when it comes to aggregators, as there's so many of them. Which one should I start with as a restaurant? Because some are demanding exclusivity, some are now announcing that they will cut their commissions, some are on the other hand increasing it. How to navigate in this?
I think if you look at top 2 or top 3 aggregators, you don't necessarily have to be on all the platforms. That is what I believe. Based on if you are a really health conscious person or fall into certain category, then there are certain apps like Deliveroo or Uber Eats which cater to a lot of Western expats, healthy lifestyle, and a variety of exclusive cuisines. If you fall under such category of restaurants, then I think those platforms would be ideal for you, because they are usually high spenders. They don't really care for what is my average check for lunch or dinner. If you are like a mass restaurant where you want to grab as much as audience possible, and then I think it's Zomato or Talabat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. It sounds like a good guidance. Okay, let's move to the digital marketing. What I can do as a restaurant in digital marketing. First of all, should I do some digital marketing if I'm only selling online through those aggregators, or I should wait with digital marketing only once I have my own platform?
So I think if you are currently do not have your own platform, then I think this is one of the best times to spend money on aggregators, because all the dine-in restaurants which used to spend heavy, they have completely stopped. So aggregators are, their ad revenues are going down, and they are ready to give spaces for a bit lesser price than earlier, and that's a good way to increase business to start off with. Once you have your own platform, I think that is when you should seriously look into Google ads and Facebook ads. And if you don't really want to invest too much to set up your own, I think Instagram ordering and Facebook ordering is a very good medium, and you could really start right away and start spending money on Facebook ads for it.
Okay.
It's an easy setup, by the way. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, easy setup. It's not too complicated.
Mm-hmm. Okay. let's dive in specifically in each of the channels you mentioned because I believe many of the business owners are not really familiar how to do Google Ads or how to do Facebook Ads. So let's take a look specifically at those channels. Let's maybe start with Facebook and Instagram ads. What would you advise me to do as a restaurant owner to start doing on Facebook?
I think it's to start off with. I think build your own account. I mean, rather than looking for an agency or anyone. I think a basic setup like setting up an ad account, which is very easy. If you have your restaurant's Facebook page already, you could just go into settings and create ads. It's a straightforward mechanism. You need to have your creatives, set the audience which you want to target. You don't have to really spend big money to start off with, even like 500 dirhams to 1000 dirhams for 2 days or 3 days. You can start and start seeing how it feels for you, what is your comfort range in terms of spending money. You could start off from there. I think Facebook Blueprints does a good job in terms of giving the basic understanding of how to set up ads and tracking those things.
Okay, definitely. We'll link Facebook Blueprints in the show notes of this episode in case someone is not familiar with it. It's a series of courses from Facebook where they educate people on Facebook advertising. You mentioned Facebook page, and then I can start advertising myself for those 500 dirhams, let's say, for a few days. How should I then set up my ad? Should I just boost up one of my posts on the page, or should I do something different?
So if you have an offer which are ongoing, so you could have the same post boosted with having a call to action into it, or you could create a specific ad itself with specific offer and target the audience with especially looking into gaming audience or movies or TV series, people who are interested in, and most importantly targeting all the big brands, because everyone now will start engaging with brand pages. So I think piggybacking on them will also help you.
Okay, you mentioned interesting thing, creating offers which might be relevant to certain type of audience. Do you think, should I go this way, try to relate my offers to something specific? I don't know, series. Now everyone is on Netflix, so to La Casa de Papel series or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's always good to have a theme around an offer. I mean, there are few campaigns which are talking about stay home, stay lazy and order online, and some people are talking about stay home, stay safe and order. Obviously, Money Heist being one of the big talking points in terms of where my next lunch would be. Is it from Berlin or is it from Ibiza, going by the character names. I think that's a good start to start engaging with the current scenario as well, so that people also move away from typical of just offer 50% off or buy one get one or 25% off or whatever that is.
Okay, do you guys do it? Do you now have Pizza Nairobi, Pizza Tokyo, or?
Unfortunately we can't do that but we tend to play a bit on social media.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can we look at this, because maybe we should say restaurants should be careful there, for example, not to take some official posters or pictures of the characters unless they have approvals for it. How do you guys handle this?
So I mean, as a big brand as Domino's, I think we are very careful not to use any trademark or proprietary content. But whatever is in the public domain, which is not proprietary, it is okay to use. For example, like Money Heist, I don't think they would have any issues with anyone using their name or posters. Obviously you have to tweak a bit or modify a bit, which you could get it on internet to suit your restaurant or change the creative because you already have a creative guy with you or an agency. You could obviously fool around a bit, but yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be a big hassle to use a few of the popular TV series. I think Friends can be one of the good, meme themed advertising that you could do with a lot of instances taking up from Fred, like Joey doesn't share food and things like that. So you could always take those instances, particularly at this time.
Okay, perfect. That's a creative way how to actually package like the meal offers, and yeah, as you said, that's probably always better than just saying we have 50% off today, right, on the meal.
Yeah.
All right. Would you suggest something specific on Facebook regarding audiences? What should I look for? And yeah.
I think to start with, you already have a basic set of audience, which you would target irrespective of what the situation is, like online shopping, food delivery, offers, deals, restaurants, fast casual restaurants, those interest and those audience. Given the scenario, I would really look into cross channel or cross audience targeting, which is your fashion, then gaming, movies, news, entertainment, things like that, which on a regular day you wouldn't really target. But given the situation that more and more people are only going to spend a lot of time on digital devices, I think those audience should be tapped. A couple of days back, I was reading a report from InMobi, which is a public report, where they were tracking how the growth of digital usage in MENAP has happened in last 4 to 5 weeks, given the lockdown situation and given the limitation of you going out with all the restaurants shutting down, how these apps engagement has increased multiple folds. Those audience has to come into your targeting bucket.
Okay, but when I'm targeting, maybe let's be more specific here. When you say target people interested in fashion, how is that related to my restaurant?
They are spending a lot of time on digital. Even though they are fashion, they still on the digital space looking for articles, because now they can't go out and shoot. They will start talking about fashion and food. We have always seen a trend there where fashion and food is always hand in hand, and people who actually follow like the cosmetics and things like that, there is an affinity for them to move back to now, because the scope for them to influence or do the influencer part for fashion is limited. They would obviously look for new avenues where they could start influencing people. So that is where food comes into picture as well.
Okay. So can you give maybe a specific example, like how you guys connect this fashion and food in Domino's? How you guys do it?
So we do tie up with few of the influencers, particularly who are high on fashion. So probably we could give them a theme at stay home, chill, be fashionable, and yet have some amazing food. Build a theme around where food being the center point. That helps in terms of getting traction.
Okay. But then I understand from that then you kind of change the narrative, right? You communicate that it's food related to fashion somehow?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what you're saying is find specific audience which you normally wouldn't think about, like people interested in fashion, let's say, and target them on Facebook with a specific message which is related to this interest. Is that right?
Yeah, and also people who generally are fashion conscious are also health conscious. They are very cautious about what they eat. So I think targeting those people with even if you're eating a burger or a pizza, and you could mention you can only have so much calories, or whatever the product is, you could you could talk about few of the healthy aspects of it, safe aspects of it, so that you could relate to those audience.
Are you looking for learning something new while working from home? Sign up to one of our digital marketing workshops. In a few days, you can learn how to launch Facebook and Instagram ads or how to advertise your business in Google search. Head to jayid.co to find out more.
You're listening to the Dubai Business Podcast, produced by Jayid.
Okay, perfect. So that's how to use the audiences on Facebook. It's a very unusual way, so that's might be helpful. Now, what about Google? You mentioned at the beginning Google Ads. Should I try to advertise as a small restaurant on Google? Does it make sense?
Yes, I think if you are a popular restaurant in your locality in and around, because we see a lot of joints in Dubai itself who are very popular, even though it's a small joint, they're still popular. I think this is the time when you could actually do radius targeting, because you get the flexibility to target area wise on Google and on Facebook. That would help rather than targeting entire Dubai, which you cannot cater to. Targeting your restaurant area itself, that helps a lot. Even doing banner ads for that matter in that area helps a lot, because a lot of people are reading blogs, articles, and popping up your ad there will definitely help you get business.
Okay. When I'm targeting, maybe let's stop at those banners for a while. Which what we mean by this is advertising through Google Display Network. Would you have some best practices for those banners? Should I mention my location? What should be on the banner for a restaurant?
So if given the situation, I think I would have a call to action like order now on the call to action creatives, and also use the big 320 by 320 640 by 720 creatives, and not the really small banner ads. Also, I would specifically create mobile targeted ads, because in-app advertising inventory has seen a lot of traction in the past few weeks. Rather than just looking at Google Display Network, I would specifically target mobile ads as well, so that you're covering the entire space of it.
Okay, perfect. And you're saying if I'm a small restaurant in, let's say, Dubai Marina, it makes sense for me to focus on that area only where I'm able to deliver, rather than trying to cover the whole Dubai, right?
Yeah, totally, because Google gives you that flexibility in terms of targeting a radius from your location. So if you are, say, in JBR, then you could cover the entire marina stretch till the Barasti. So you could literally put a radius targeting saying 2 miles or 2 miles around my restaurant, and that covers up entire marina for you.
Yeah, perfect. It makes sense. When it comes to search, how to set up the keywords which are relevant to my restaurant to make sure that the advertising makes sense.
So in terms of keywords, I think a lot of businesses do not understand the difference between an exact match and a broad match. I would suggest to use exact match keywords, because you are a small restaurant. Having a broad keyword could really burn your money within no time, and you would not even realize it. So I would suggest you to use exact match keywords, like if you are a shawarma place, or a falafel place, or a healthy salad place, or a pizza place. Use keywords which you would use to search on Google, like pizza delivery near me, order Domino's near me, or healthy salad, order salads online. Those kind of keywords, and keyword tool helps you to drill down a lot of keywords for you. The high searched keywords, you could just pick them up and add it as exact match, so that anyone who does not type in, for example, if you have selected a keyword which is order pizza online, and you put it as an exact match, anyone who searches exactly the same only sees the ad, not like someone says order pizza online for me. Mm-hmm. So that helps in terms of reducing your spends, but at the same time targeting to highly relevant people who are searching for your food.
Okay, so what you're saying, it makes sense for me to rather select specific keywords in exact match, which will be highly relevant to me, rather than trying to advertise with broad match, which would have many irrelevant search terms, right?
True.
Okay, when it comes to the keywords as such, should I try to go for keywords like restaurant or restaurant Dubai Marina? Does that make sense? Or I should be specific, for example, to my type of cuisine, so pizza or salad?
I would be specific to my type of cuisine, because the intent is not very clear when I'm searching for restaurants in Marina. The intent is not clear what I want to do, whether I want to go there or I'm just looking for restaurant names or looking for a menu. The intent is not clear. Whereas when you're talking about specific to your cuisine, like Italian pizza or a Alfredo pasta, then order pasta, there is a clear intent that the person wants to order from you. So that helps you to filter out unnecessary traffic, because if you're a single restaurant, you might not have deep pockets for advertising, so that helps to optimize as much as possible.
Okay, so this way I can make sure that we have only the keywords relevant to my cuisine, so I get people with the intent. I believe that's sometimes also a misconception of search ads in Google, that people are trying to cover as many keywords as possible rather than being very specific, right?
Yeah, I think what people usually, I mean, not people, but businesses usually tend to think is, broader keywords actually drives a lot of traffic, which is not the case, because on Google Ads you're doing either for a lead or for a conversion, and the more specific you go, the less clutter it becomes, and that is where your conversion chances increases. Because if you type restaurant, there is Hilton, there is Sheraton, then there is then there is another restaurant which is targeting for restaurant keywords. So you're bidding more, your ad ranking might not be the best, so you are in a lot of clutter. But when you drill down to specific, like order pasta online, out of those 4 restaurants, maybe only 2 restaurants are serving pasta, so your ranking increases, your impression for that keyword is high, and the chances of the user clicking on your keyword on your ad, if you have a very good content on the ad itself, then voila, you're getting a customer there.
Okay, you mentioned competition. Let's not forget about all those aggregators that actually I will be competing with, all Zomatos, Talabats, and all of these kinds. How to make sure that I'm still profitable from the ad, or it makes sense for me to advertise if I'm competing with all these big guys?
So obviously, because you're a restaurant, the brand, even if you're on aggregator, your brand name, if you're like a Bar Salat, which is a salad place in Dubai Marina, I'm on aggregators, but at the same time, people look for Bar Salat restaurant, not Talabat Bar Salat restaurant. So if you have your own ad, obviously Google will rank you higher, because the domain, the keyword is all directly relevant to you, and compared to a Talabat or a Zomato advertising, because their domain itself is very different from the keyword, even though they are targeting those keywords. So in terms of quality, in terms of ranking, I think your ad will be much better positioned than the aggregator. So obviously you're doing better in terms of relevancy to the audience.
Okay, perfect. Now let's say I'm running those Facebook ads, Google ads. How should I make sure it's working for me? How should I look at the results?
So I would actually look at 2 aspects of it. One is so before I think there are 2 aspects of it. One is the CTRs, what is my CTR, and the second is my conversion rate. These are the 2 primary things that I would really look into in terms of where I should optimize my budgets. because if you have a really good CTR, then your one of the headaches is taken care of, because you're talking very relevant, the communication in the ads are very relevant to the audience. The second piece is conversion rate. That is where if the conversion rate is low, then you really have to think at where the consumer is landing when he clicks on the land, what is the communication that is being shown on the landing page. Those are the things that will give you insights once you start advertising, and once you start tracking these two metrics. The better the CTR, obviously there would be a better conversion rate. So these two primary metrics is what I would start looking at from day one, rather than number of impressions or what is my CPC. I would always look at end cost per conversion and not at what I'm bidding or what I'm paying for a click.
But isn't it true that I can measure the cost per conversion only if I have my own platform?
Yes, that is true. But on Google Ads, if you're running Google Ads, you are driving it to your platform, right? So you are anyways tracking the orders. Even on Facebook you could actually track on Facebook Messenger as well what is happening there. So in terms of, because you're already you're not pushing them to even though you don't have an online ordering platform, you still have a website where they could land and then call up the restaurant or fill up a form or things like that. So you could eventually track your audience in one way or the other. But CTRs and CPC, conversion rate, cost per conversion and conversion rate, these are the three primary metrics that I would always look at.
Okay, so to simplify it, I should always try to measure some action after the user or customer comes to my website, and try to measure that action, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. What about other channels? Would you recommend something to restaurants out of Facebook and Google Ads?
I think a lot of affiliate marketing also will help, and being on platforms like Groupon or Kabon, or for that matter Voucher Scout helps a lot, because these are the platforms where people will go now to look at ordering food or looking at deals. Apart from aggregators, this is also one of the good channels that a restaurant can tap into. And unlike aggregators, they don't really charge you exorbitant commission, so that helps.
Okay. So these channels might be useful. What about email marketing? Are you guys using it in Domino's somehow? Is it something which restaurants could use to their benefit?
I mean, third-party email marketing, I've never seen good traction. One or two blasts is fine, and it's not very cheap also, email marketing. When it comes to third-party, there is a lot of ambiguity around data quality, where did they acquire the user base from, all those things come into picture. Unless and until I have a very good cluster of emails and a good CRM tool, I wouldn't really go for it. At least I wouldn't never go for a third party emailer campaign unless until I know who they are.
Yeah, so all those guys who are coming and saying, hey, we will send your offer to 1 million emails in Dubai, that probably doesn't make much sense from what you're saying.
No. I think email marketing is not as simple as sending it to 1 million people. There's a lot of quality of the data, authenticity of the data matters. I mean, if you have your own database, then I think that's the perfect. Then email marketing would be the perfect way. If you do not have your own database, then I wouldn't recommend. I think, in fact, I would recommend doing SMS. SMS is cheap and it's effective as well, with small bursts now and then. That would help.
Okay, great you're mentioning that, because every restaurant who does delivery, they have my phone number as a user, right? Well, I don't see many restaurants actually using this to their benefit. can you advise on that? If the restaurants have my contact information, how they can use it to upsell me later, maybe?
So we at Domino's, we do use SMS marketing very intelligently. We know what customer is ordered, what pizza, whether he used an offer or not. So restaurants would be able to know that from their database that, okay, this customer ordered only salad on Wednesdays, and this customer ordered only when there was an offer. So you could actually segment those audience based on offers and type of food they ordered, and communicate the same message to them. Communicate the same message, because if you know a person who's ordering, a pizza every Monday from Domino's because it's buy one get one, then I know that once in 2 weeks or once in 3 weeks, I just give him a reminder. Hey, it's Monday and buy one get one. Why don't you order?
Okay, so trying to be specific to what I know about the user, probably.
Yeah,
that would help.
Yeah, because that's a rich data that you have, and it's a first-hand data that you own and sit on. You should use it in a very intelligent way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, for the SMS marketing, would you recommend any tool where to go to if I have no idea how to start with that? What should be the first step?
I think first is if you want to send it to your own database, I think speak to Etisalat, or they have their own messaging platform where you could upload your own database and send SMS by yourself. You don't need anyone to do that. And I'm not someone who's very comfortable sharing my data with some other agency to send SMSs. So I would take that platform, which is, I think Etisalat charges about 1,500 dirhams a month for the platform, and you could send as many SMSs as you want. There's a slab, obviously, but yeah, I would have a tool in-house, and preferably from a telecom rather than any third party, unless you have your own CRM which is integrated with multiple execution partners. If you're standalone, then directly talk to the telcos to give you an SMS platform.
Okay, so speaking to my telco operator and using their platform, and then I should segment the data on my side, or should I use some CRM for this? Because you said I should segment the customers first based on what they're ordering.
I think simple Excel segmentation would work, unless you want to do a lot of intelligence to it. If you're doing hands-on, a single owner who wants to do it, I think simple Excel filters would help. Running a pivot and sorting out options based on how you want to dissect. I think that should help more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Adi, do you see, and now again specific to restaurants, do you see any other dangerous things, like we mentioned the third-party emailing or something like that? Do you see any other, I would say almost scams which are happening in digital?
For a restaurant, unless a lot of people come and talk about affiliate marketing, not affiliate marketing, but a lot of people come and talk to you about driving millions of traffics to your website or to your platform at a very, very cheap cost. I think those are the channels that you need to be very cautious of. Not with Domino's, but previously I have faced issues where back in India, to be specific, where I engaged with one of the partners to drive traffic for my website or to drive install campaigns at a very cheap cost, but eventually turned out that the traffic and the installs were done by bot. Mm-hmm. So you need to be very cautious. Always look for third-party verification of the data. There are certain tools which help you to identify. I don't remember the tools on top of my head, but there are certain tools which help you in terms of identifying whether it's a bot traffic or a authentic install or not. So you should be careful about those scams that a lot of people tend to do at this time.
Okay. What could be the warning sign maybe for a business owner who really is not digital marketing savvy? Is it someone offering the millions of visitors, or what should be the warning sign for people who don't really understand digital that much?
So I think one of the tipping point for raising a flag indication would be who's talking only on impressions. Mm-hmm. Who's purely talking on impressions, that we have all these audience, all these platforms, we could drive millions of traffics to you, I will give you so many impressions, so many people will be seeing your ad at a relevantly cheap cost. I mean, if you could simply go on Google Keyword Planner or Display Planner or Facebook Audience Planner and just see what audience he's saying, put it by yourself, and see what is the impression cost per impression that Google or Facebook is recommending. So at least that will give you a benchmark where in what range your cost per 1,000 impressions would be, and just compare it to with what the agency is doing. If he's giving you relatively cheap, then there is no point in doing it, because most of the traffic impressions would be on a parked domain, which is basically run by bots.
Yeah. Okay. I totally agree. If someone comes, it's 2020 today, so if someone comes and speaks only about impression, I would say it's a big sign to send this person away straight away and not waste any time with it.
Yeah.
All right. To wrap it up, anything else you would recommend restaurants to do nowadays as they are trying to increase the demand and use the search in online ordering? Anything else they can do to make use of the situation?
I think first is if you're not on aggregators and not on any digital platform, or you don't have your platform, I think a no-brainer is to sign up on aggregators and probably look for agencies who could enable you your messenger ordering and Instagram ordering. Those agencies will also help you to advertise on Facebook and Instagram with not a huge budget but a small budget. So these two are the primary things that I would quickly start. And SMS, yes, if I've never done SMS, this is the right time to dig into your database and start talking to them.
Perfect.
Because if you don't talk now, once things normalize, you will find it really hard to get them back.
That's right. I believe now there's actually a great opportunity for restaurants to start with things like that.
Yeah. I think this particularly for all delivery restaurants who were not very sure whether to have their own platform or to do marketing. This is the right time. If you can take advantage of the situation, then I think once business normalizes, I think you will not have the pressure of recovering the business because you already set a delivery business, and if you have a very good delivery business, it means that you can reach out to people to come back to you again and again. With dine-in, that is not the possibility because a lot of people might be comfortable giving you their information. A lot might not be comfortable. Like I'm not very comfortable to give my information when I'm going to a restaurant. So for you to call back those restaurant customers is difficult because you don't know who they are. Unlike in delivery, you know exactly where the person lives, what he orders, what he likes and what he does not like from your restaurant. So it becomes easy for you to call the people back to your place in times like this.
So I can use the situation as opportunity to build my own audience, basically my own base of customers who I then will be able to transform to dine-in as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. I believe this is a great wrap-up of what we discussed. Adi, thank you very much for all the tips. I believe it will be helpful for the audience.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, and thanks for thinking that I could give some insights for particularly for F&B industry. Thank you so much, Lucas.
Don't forget to go to our website jayid.co/podcast, where you can find all links we mentioned in this episode. If you felt some parts of our conversation were a bit technical, you can reach out in comments of the episode and ask any follow-up questions. As Aditya said, this is the time for restaurants to move online quicker than they thought, and we are happy to help. If you like the episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues who might benefit from it. On behalf of our producer Arshak Ismail, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you very soon.
This was the Dubai Business Podcast, produced by Jayid. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform and on social media at jayid.co/podcast. That's JAYID.co/podcast.